So the league's officially started. I know most of the talk so far has been about the transfer window, and if you watched Celtic Down Under Thursday podcast with myself, or if you've seen my last video, a lot of the talk was, are we better than last year? Are we worse than last year? Where are we? And everyone's saying because we haven't brought new signings in, we're pretty much one player down at the moment, which is our backup striker, and we haven't improved in a couple of areas, that we weren't better than last year. But I don't know. I think after today's game, I think we are better than last year. The players are better, and the window isn't shut. So there's still room for improvement. But let's have a look at today's game. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the game, some player performances, and one area I feel has improved in the game. You probably won't guess, and I think it might be a little bit controversial, but I'm hoping for a bit of consistency there throughout the season. So first things first, the lineup. I was surprised to see Maeda out. I know he was injured, and there's always rumours that he's going to be out for a month or whatever, but this is Maeda, and being out for a month means, 2 days? Last time he was out for the season. But so let's hope it's not too serious. If we knew he was going to be out, I would have thought Palmer would have got the start, but we went with Forrest, who had a solid game. Johnson, straight back in at right back. He wasn't injured, he was just getting a bit of a rest. And got engaged, so it was good to see him straight back into the side. At least I think he got like 60-65 minutes. And Bernardo, straight back in this week, right onto the bench. Didn't see game time, but it's good to see him straight back in onto the bench. One surprising area was we only came out with 2 defenders on the bench in Ralston and Welsh. We had 3 wingers, 3 midfielders, and our backup goalkeeper, Sazolo. So that's something maybe to keep an eye on going forward. One thing, I don't know if this annoyed the crap out of anyone else. It did for me, especially sometimes when you're watching Celtic TV. Picture isn't great, but St Johnson's choice in jersey, I know it's petty, but that grey is almost white, and when you're next to Celtic in their home straight, and they're in white as well, like, don't they have a blue top? Like, there's just someone wear dark, someone wear light. I thought that was the whole point of having home and away kits. Like, if your away kit is like a light grey, which almost looks white on screen, like, that's why we have third kits. Fix it. Let's get on to some positives from. Actually, I think there's mostly positive. I don't think there's any negatives from the game, actually, now that I think of it. Our ball control was phenomenal. We've continued from pre-season. It wasn't a fluke. It wasn't just a pre-season game. I think we have played consistently. Ball control was great. Passing was phenomenal. And we were actually going forward. One thing I wanted to see this season is us actually getting into that top third and doing some attacking, being a little bit more creative. When we did lose the ball going forward, we got it back straight away, and we were creating chances as well. So that's one of probably the biggest positive I've seen from today's game, is just our attack, being able to do stuff in that final third. Usually we got up there, turned the ball over, and we're just playing in our own sort of middle of the field. And from that, if we look at the stats, we had 32 shots on goals. That is great. Against a pretty decent defending team. They actually came at us, which is a bit surprised. I thought they might have sat back a little bit more, but they actually did try and come at us. But we still got 32 shots, 13 on target. That ratio could go up a little bit. But we had 83% possession, which it did feel like. We had a lot of possession, with 829 passes to 176. Now, that's a big number, but I think we did play around with it a bit too much in the back line. I'd love to see how many passes Liam Scales got. It just felt like everything was going to Liam Scales and going forward, then back, then sideways. So there's a lot of that in the backfield. I'd love to see some stats on key passes going forward. But still, 10 corners, and the important part of that is we actually scored from a corner. Scales got on a header, which is something we seem to have been weak in, set plays and corners, and we actually scored from one. Speaking of set plays, Matt O'Reilly with his cheeky little chip over the top that almost got a goal to Kyogo, and maybe we've been working on set plays. And one big gripe that you'll hear me go on about if it doesn't improve this season, but was actually decent today, throw-ins. We weren't waiting for everyone to be marked and just standing around waiting for throw-ins. We were actually getting some quick throw-ins, quick passes, get the ball back in the field at people's feet and not turning the ball over, which was just a complete bugbear of mine last season, annoying the crap out of me. Players. Alright, how did the players go? Let's start up front. Forrest, Kuhn on the wings, both great. They were getting wide, making a lot of room. They were changing it up as well. They're not just going to the side, or not just coming in. They were getting whatever was... they were taking whatever they were getting from the defenders. Some good crosses. Kuhn was actually attacking goal, whereas I don't think he was as much last year. And Kyogo was actually giving them room, so he was getting in behind where he could and dropping back and giving space, which is what he done for Kuhn's goal. He actually gave a little bit of space, so Kuhn's like, okay, well, I'll take it, and got a goal. So that forward line, very good. Rio Hatate, today's MVP at the game. I think he's starting to come back into pre-injured form. I think he didn't have a great season last year coming back from injury. He started off a little bit slow for his standard in pre-season and just ramped it up, and he's just getting better each game. And I think we're back to having the old Rio. He's taken shots, missed a few, but got one. If he misses 5 and gets one every game, that would be great. Just keep taking them. We need to keep attacking goal. And I have to give a shout out to one of the guys who I thought was one of the best players today, who normally suffers a lot of negativity, and that is Greg Taylor. I think he was phenomenal, all over the park, just harassing. I think he was great. Shout out to him. And then our bunch of solid players that just do their job. Matt O'Reilly, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Johnson, Ralston, Kalmack. Didn't do anything spectacular, didn't stuff up at all, just kept the ball moving, great in defence, just solid players, although they are solid, they have to do something special too. They've raised the bar for themselves. One player, if we have to pick a player who is a little bit iffy for me, but is getting a lot of praise on Twitter, and I think it is the weak part of our team, which is still... he still played well. Liam Scales. I know he scored a goal. Great header. And he had another header on defence. Had a lot of passes. So the more times you get the ball, the more chance you have to stuff up. He had a couple of really good passes. But then he comes back and he has a couple of bad passes. A couple of bad dribbles. The big thing for me is when Vassell was getting forward, like it seemed like in that first half at least, the only way he was stopping him was by fouling him, which was, it was good that we were pressing so high, so at least they weren't giving free kicks close to the 18-yard box. But I just feel like when he's going to get beat, he gets a bit grabby and a bit giving away those fouls. But I do think he was good, but just probably everyone else was just so much, like just playing so well. I think he just needs to step up just a little bit more. But he was good, probably just, yeah. Alright, depth. Depth scared me when Yang came on. Yang should be out on loan. But when we've got players like Maeda not starting, and then you've got Forrest who ended up starting because Maeda wasn't there. He's not a 90-minute player. He done really well for the time he was on. That's his job. But then we have to bring someone on, and when we're bringing on Yang, it kind of shows, okay, well, maybe we do need a bit more depth, because after that it was Mikey Johnson, which I think Mikey was held off in case Kyogo needed a rest, because don't get it started on that. But that kind of showed our depth. When one or two players are out, our depth is a bit iffy. But he didn't play too bad today. Didn't play too bad. Didn't do anything really special. I didn't even really notice him, so can't really say much. But on a more positive note, Holm got a chance, which I thought was great. He was on the bench. Out of all the midfielders that were there, he was the one that was given a shot, which is really good to see from his performance in pre-season. And he continued that, had a great little flick on from Palmer, who had some space in front of him, could have taken a shot, which Palmer would have loved to, but that's when he got fouled. But yeah, Holm continuing with that. And again, Ralston, we know Ralston came on, solid. He's just perfect as a backup right back, and he got a goal. So good on you, Ralston. Now, the table. Let's have a look at where we are at after today's game. On top, funny that. On top with St Mirren, just 1 point clear, because St Mirren are the only other team that's actually had a win this round. 3-0 against Kilmarnock. And what is it? We played Kilmarnock. 3-0 against Hibs. Alright, so still clean sheet, 3-0 against Hibs. So we're on top of the table with St Mirren. We were plus 4 goals, they're plus 3. Aberdeen, St Johnstone still to play. I'm going to say Aberdeen will win that 2-0. So we might have, well, we'll see how that goes. The game might have already been played by the time you see this. But let's get to one area of the game that I felt was an improvement from last season that I'm probably going to get hate for. The refereeing. Now, yes, I know there was a foul on Kyogo. It could have been a penalty, but wasn't given. But let's just take that one out and look at the game as a whole. This is the first game where there wasn't an offside where the linesman's running down waiting for VAR to let him know to put his flag up because it was offside. We're actually getting quicker decisions. We weren't going to VAR and watching everything. To me, I think that's we're headed in the right direction. It's not perfect yet, but I think we're headed in the right direction there. We just need consistency now. I like that they're not giving as many penalties. There was way too easy penalties. Oh, it touched his hand. Penalty. If you give a penalty, you're pretty much giving away a goal. And a lot of some of them were just ridiculous last season. So I like that we're not giving. VAR isn't being overused. It's not. You didn't notice it in this game at all. So I hope this is the start of something going forward. We just want consistency. Not stupid penalties that change games, which can change the table. Just be consistent, eh? We've shown the last game with the handball. That wasn't a handball. Is that going to be consistent throughout the rest of the league, or is it going to depend? And if you see an offside, put your flag up, and then have a quick check. But stop leaving it and having opportunity for players to be injured. All right, I'm going to stop ranting about that. We'll see if I'm right or wrong, or if you hate me for whatever it is. But yeah, we are off to a great start. Top of the table already. Let's see how the rest of the season goes. I'm having fun watching, and there's still plenty more to come. Plus Champions League.